ahead with our second eminent speaker, Dr. P. Malyadri. Dr. P. Malyadri, ICSSR Research Institute, Ministry of HRD, Government of India, has obtained doctorate in commerce in 1991 from Sri Venkateshwara University. He rendered services in government with 30 years of experience of teaching, research, administration, training, and consultancy. A prolific writer, Dr. Malyadri has authored 6 books and 143 research papers in various national and international journals of repute, including Scopus Indexed. Dr. Malyadri reviewed more than 2,000 articles for the international peer-reviewed journals. Dr. Malyadri is presently member, academic, advisory board, Uttaranchal University, Dehradun. He also recognized research supervisor to guide PhD scholars in the Department of Commerce and Management, Bharat University, Coimbatore, and Kanchi University, Kanchipuram, Tamil Nadu. He served as program officer of the National Service Scheme for 5 years and conducted several programs and received outstanding awards. Dr. Malyadri served as principal for more than a decade in affiliated colleges of Osmania University and Rayalaseema University, and also served as director in JNTUH Affiliated Engineering College. He got an award of senior fellowship from ICSSR New Delhi and is presently as a ICSSR senior fellow at Center for Economic and Social Studies. He is also serving as inspecting authorities appointed by Ministry of Minority Affairs, Government of India, to conduct inspections of the NGOs, institutions, skill development center across the country for 2 years. I request Professor Dr. Malyadri to kindly grace this conference with his words of wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope it is audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you. It is extremely happy to associate with the one-day international multidisciplinary conference conducted by Kleras College of Commerce in collaboration with University of Mumbai and Indian Accounting Association. I am very much thankful to Principal Dr. Madhukar and also Dr. Babita Kanoji, who is the coordinator of the program. Respected Chief Guest of the Day, Professor R.K. Singh, the Guest of Honor, Professor Soral, and my dear friend, Professor Ravinder Rena. Today, I appreciate the Kleras College for taking up a wonderful title on impact of COVID-19 on sustainable development, because today COVID is the buzzword. It is disheartening to note that the world has changed dramatically for the last 1 year. Lots of people have lost their lives to the pandemic, and economic activity has slowed down significantly. During the year 2020-21, we will most probably experience the worst recession since the Great Depression, with the global economic output expected to shrink about 3 to 5%. Of course, the situation looks worse in countries that have been particularly hard hit by the virus. The COVID crisis is huge, in fact, especially for low and middle class income countries. So the entire universe is in dwindling with the economic position. There is a significant reduction in finances and risks are increasing developing economies which are unable to recover from the situation. No doubt, poverty has been recorded all-time high as the unemployment geared up. There is no exception between developed and developing countries for this COVID, undoubtedly. Consumption paralyzed because of low incomes and unemployment situations. India was greatly affected by the COVID pandemic in various sectors. Intending to get hold of situation, India announced its first nationwide lockdown in March 2020, which led to the economic slowdown. India also encountering severe economic crisis as majority of the population depends on unorganized sector. Of course, we are all aware organized sector is playing vital role in the Indian economy. It is the major component and contributor in GDP. India's quarterly GDP was estimated to grow up by 0.5% in the last quarter of financial year 2021. This was a significant improvement from the time between April and June 2020, when the country went to lockdown. As a matter of fact, the COVID has been at the center of loss of lives and livelihood on a massive scale. Especially in India, the economy alongside the population also requires nursing back to health. The estimated cost of full lockdown was a whopping of $26 billion. Again, lockdown is imposed in Delhi since yesterday, and many states in the country are planning to go for imposing lockdown. The impact of lockdown in India slashed GDP growth forecast for financial year 2021. Among the agencies that estimated growth, Bernstein predicted a contraction of 7%, while the ADB, Asian Development Bank, foreseeing growth of 4%. So India recorded a growth of 4.2% in the previous fiscal year. So the slowest is in 11 years. Secondly, MSMEs are facing severe working capital management. Manufacturing affected and consequently exports and record level low, subsequently immediate effect on foreign exchange reserves. India's manufacturing industry is highly diversified. A substantial majority of all industrial workers are employed in the millions of small-scale handicrafts enterprises. It is a fact that 30% of the total population in India depend on daily wages for survival. Think of what about migrants? Petroleum products was the most affected commodity in terms of exports from India, a decline of about 32% in January 2021 compared to the same month in the previous year. Consequently, international trade took a huge hit as well. In December 2020, imported commodities, especially crude petroleum and other products, faced more than 70% decline compared to the previous year. Rupee value all-time low and nearing to rupees 75 rupees per dollar. The effects of crude oil increase day by day may lead to high inflation. In addition to all the negatives in economy, India has got a positive side of high agriculture yielding. So we are really thankful to the farmers for the excellent growth of agriculture inputs. This helps people to sustain survival. Household income in India was drastically impacted due to the lockdown. The entire world is currently fighting the same battle, that is fight against COVID-19. As each day passes, contentions about the global economy, political, economic orders, and healthcare systems continues to prevail in a myriad of discussions. The cost of the crisis is in terms of loss of lives, which is very, very painful, and effects on the sustainable development prospects are worrisome. Through many economic and social political avenues, this pandemic is heralded to affect the global development at a vast scale. COVID-19 and its effects are significant setback in progress, and it has presented a unique challenge in accomplishing several things for the development of the country. The Sustainable Development Goals entails a vision of the peace of prosperity for the whole world. But this pandemic has uncovered the true colors of nations across the globe and has brought into question the very growth in achieving these goals. So COVID-19 does not just come in the way of attainment of sustainable development goals, but calls for a reevaluation of its timeline. Since this onslaught has hindered the growth of its accomplishment. First of all, the pandemic has created more isolated economics with the closure of borders and international migration. There have also been various notions that have raised suspicion among nations. Inevitably, the pandemic severely affected the good health and well-being and across the world. People are getting sick and dying from the COVID because healthcare system were overwhelmed by the virus, and the doctors are unable to care the other illness as well. That is a big task in the world. The pandemic has deprived children of their regular education, and which impacted the quality of education. It is, as a matter of fact, it is estimated that nearly 90% of the students worldwide are out of schools, and has exacerbated the inequality between the richest and poor students. It is also estimated that education online is out of reach for at least 500 million students throughout the world. That is a too pathetic situation in the world. Women are facing more consequences of the pandemic than men. Worldwide, if you can see, 70% of all health and social workers are women, putting women directly in harm's way of the virus itself, because women are likely doing more domestic and care work than men during pandemic situation. Not only this, because of stay-at-home orders, women across the world are also being harmed more often by abusing partner. Even though the world has taken on the norms of social distancing and quarantine, we witness a heavy reliance on digital connectivity. Still, the inability of being accommodated in virtual world lead challenges in the dimensions of holistic developing, causing higher levels of poverty and hunger. Therefore, inflation has collapsed around the world, and the global economy meets its deepest recession since the Great Depression. And since last year, March, the COVID-19 brought business activities to a near standstill. Although many services have moved into digital space, there are still almost closures of traditional business and reduced economic activities. It is really a pathetic situation in India. Tourism is another important industry which affected a lot due to COVID-19. The stress levels of the people have also increased during the pandemic situation. The virus has already done significant damage and will continue to be more if government do not act swiftly to protect the most vulnerable pandemic situations. So the government role is more. The government has to play a vital role in this regard, along with the private players. The government should give first and topmost priority to the healthcare system in the present pandemic situation to control the disease and mitigate the impacts and effects of COVID. So government should plan and create a map to get recovery from COVID, and that ensures no one left behind. The coronavirus is an enormous challenge for all of us, but it is also chance for a new beginning. In spite of all this, the COVID pandemic have pushed all the organizations to reinvent the way they operate and find a new equilibrium. However, every crisis presents an opportunity. It is an opportunity time for organizations, especially to business and industry, to evaluate how they build business resilience to global and local crises. Demands for long-term strategies to build rich inherent metrics that help them to shield from future shock in the system. The pandemic showcases an opportunity to act in solidarity as the world continues to deal with the challenges thrown by the pandemic. We can't shift our eyes away from the achievements. So we must seek to turn the crisis into an opportunity and ramp up with the necessary actions. So the areas that most fruitful in this respect are sustainability, digitalization, and innovation. These three words, buzzwords, are inevitable for us. A truly transformative recovery from COVID is needed, focusing on reducing risk in future cases and bridging much closer the inclusive and sustainable development. So if you can see, nearly 370 million school children are missing the free school meals. They rely on it. It is also a pathetic situation in the country, which the poor school children are facing. Last but not least is that there is a drastic impact of COVID on health of the people. Before COVID, there was a progress in many health areas at an accelerating rate, but COVID pandemic is devastating health system globally. So there is a need of the hour to take more initiative steps from government side, corporates, and the public to come out of this pandemic COVID-19 situation. So now the corporates has to play a vital role. The total funds of CSR, should be spent on healthcare in view of COVID virus. That is most important. And there is a time where state governments can also focus on the job creation in the same sector, such as strengthening labor schemes, local startups, and small medium enterprises to ensure employment for these migrants. Government can address this by pursuing policies that have already proved successful previously, such as measures to improve the energy efficiency of buildings, which created jobs, has reduced the energy bills, and helps the environment. So the government needs to focus on 4 areas which can help the most vulnerable of our population and strengthen healthy living for all. So therefore, all the stakeholders should be more focused on the webinars, online workshops, seminars that would be benefited commercially. So in this connection, many funding agencies like Ajim Premji University, ICSSR, Indian Council of Social Science Research, has announced in inviting research projects on impact of COVID. That is a welcome sign. So being the academicians, we have to carry out research projects on impact of COVID on different sectors, so that how best we may be able to provide good inputs for the development of sustainable development. So thank you very much for the wonderful opportunity in international conference. Thank you. Over to the organizers. Thank you.
Thanks for such knowledgeable thoughts of sustainable development and government initiatives for employment of migrants, and focusing on webinars, workshops, and many more things that are being shared by you, sir, during pandemic situation. Once again, we are highly fortunate to hear from such a prominent personality. Without taking any more time ahead, I would move forward with our next speaker. Our next speaker is Principal Dr. G. Kalkoti, BOS in Business Economics, UAM, MVM College of Commerce. He is a recognized MPhil Guide, YCMOU, recognized PhD Guide of University of Mumbai. Sir has been elected unopposed as Chairman of the Board of Studies in Business Economics, University of Mumbai, convener and member of Local Inquiry Committee of University of Mumbai to various colleges, convener and member of Expert Committee of University of Mumbai to various colleges, member Expert Committee, National Board of Accreditation, New Delhi, member of Subcommittee for Credit-Based Semester and Grading System for MCOM of University of Mumbai, member of All India Association for Educational Research, member of Association Indian College Principal, member of Maharashtra Commerce Association.
It's okay.
So,
it's
member
okay.
of Editorial Board of an International.
Moderation. Yeah. Thank you.
So I would request Dr. G. Kalkoti to kindly grace this conference with his valuable perceptions.
Yes. Thank you so much. And due to paucity of time, I requested Madam to cut short the introduction of mine. As a matter of fact, rather than speaking, my role is to moderate the plenary session. So I would request, rather than me giving a speech, let us have this as interactive sessions. Professor Ravindra Rena sir and Professor Malyadri Pacha sir, I request both of you, let us now dwell on the discussion of the topic called as the impact of COVID-19 and the sustainable development. Let us have a round of discussion on this. I'm very thankful to both of you for having given the elaborate lecture, particularly Dr. Ravindra Rena sir. He compared the Mumbai economy in particular, Maharashtra economy and Indian economy in general with that of South African economy with a lot of statistical figures. So your idea of green and clean India is well taken, but who should own up the responsibility is $1 billion question. Similarly, Dr. Malyadri Pacha was very particular, and he made a point saying that this is a situation where everyone should come close to each other, and he also stressed the importance of how the total funds of CSR should be thoroughly utilized for the coming out of this pandemic situation. And he also said, all the research scholars who are attending this, there are a lot of funds made available for research scholars to write innovative papers so that it can take the policy makers way ahead with their innovative ideas. Now, sir, we will enter into the discussion part. The first question is, it is the repetition of what happened a year back. Actually, it started with COVID-19, took entire 2020. Now 4 months almost are over in 2021 also. So are we ready for losing another quarter of our economic development? Are we ready for going ahead with the same kind of new normalcy that we call as for another academic year also? So what will be your take on this? 1 minute each for both Ravindra sir and Malayadri sir, so that I can take for the next question. This being a plenary session. Over to you, Ravindra sir.
Well, Dr. Gopalji, thank you very much for the opportunity. Indeed, my take would be like it is a critical situation. The COVID on the one side and the economy on the other side. So they are the two sides of the same coin. If we toss a coin, either we get a head or probably a tail. Now, if we restrict the lockdown scenarios, where there are a number of states in India, they're trying to impose the lockdowns for the past 1 week or 10 days, and what would happen to the economy? And we are compromising with the economic development. So, but we need to, our Indian people should try to take the precautions which are suggested by the WHO, World Health Organization, and AIIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences.
So would you like to say we have not taken enough precautions last year because of the...
That's right, yes.
Okay.
You see, we got Kumbh Mela. We respect Kumbh Mela, for example, for the past 12 years. Once in 12 years, we celebrate, even in Maharashtra, Nasik, and there are many spots of India, we do celebrate Kumbh Mela. We respect that. It is happening for thousands of years, Kumbh Mela. But we need to make some kind of precautions. If we don't probably maintain the social distancing, for example, we got a density of population of 470 people living in 1 square kilometer land of India, whereas in China, such a second largest economy, there is only 160 people living there. In South Africa, only 18 people are living in 1 square kilometer. So 470 people, maintaining social distance will be difficult for us, but it is not impossible for us. As long as we could able to put the mask on, wash the hands, probably respect the rule of law, and maybe probably we can able to protect each other. So that needs to be done. While the economy is opened up, the schools, colleges are opened up in some cases, but still every citizen of the country, if they could able to equally take the precautions. There is a video that I was watching a few days ago that 4 gentlemen teaching a small boy on how to wear the mask, but none of those 4 guys, they wear the mask themselves.
Yes, so charity has to begin at okay,
exactly,
okay,
at
fine.
home. At home.
The point well
so
taken, sir.
Yeah, there is a huge toll on our economy because our economy was contracted more than 25% for the past 1 year or so. Our economy should supposed to be the $5 trillion economy by 2024. Now, this pandemic came and hit us very badly. And under this situation like this, we cannot afford to go further without opening the economy one side. But at the same time, we cannot afford to lose our own people. So we must strike a balance there. So balancing is only precautionary measures.
Okay,
I think that would be my solution.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very well. Malayadri, sir, what's your take on this?
Yeah. Yes, Professor Ravindra said, rightly said. In fact, during the critical situation, our Indians must be taken meticulous care how we may be able to rescue the challenges. Undoubtedly, this situation is not a permanent. It is only a temporary. Only for some time. Only for some time. It is
so last year we thought the same. Last April, May, June, July we thought.
Yes, that is
but
true.
1 year is over now.
But we are not taken proper care. Since it was little bit reduced, automatically our people are jumping, started going everywhere without mask. So we have to use the mask at least for 2 years. At least for 2 years. Otherwise, we can't.
It should become the part of our attire.
Yeah, and it is quite interesting to note that 70% of the people are depending upon the agriculture. So the growth of agriculture is not at all deteriorated. Is no doubt the growth. There is a growth of agriculture purely. So in that case, we are not at all be backward.
Okay.
And in terms of other sectors, no doubt we are equal to other countries. We may be backward, and everything is downsized, and So therefore, in this connection, the government and other corporate players has to play a vital role. As I said already, the total funds of corporate social responsibility. See, 2% of the profits should be spent exclusively for this pandemic situation. No other purpose should be spent. These funds, definitely we will come out of this COVID. That's
Yes,
all.
sir.
Thank you.
Now, quickly, I come to both of you again.
Yeah.
One crisp question, one
Yeah.
sentence answer. What
Yeah.
will be the future of hospitality and food industry? Hospitality and food in hotels. Hotel
Hotels.
industry. Yeah. What will be your take on that?
Yeah,
Because
it is.
they're almost closed now.
Yeah,
They are closed
definitely.
globally. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir, Malayadriji, you can go on,
Yeah,
and
please.
then I'll go after you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's a wonderful question, Gopalji, that food industry is one of the important industries in the global economy, which contribute more than $5 trillion actually to the global economy. Out of $85 trillion economy, food alone can contribute about $5.5 trillion. So now, because of the current scenario, most of those industries are closed down, and people are even skeptical to go and buy the food outside. So therefore, this pandemic scenario, in the coming 3 years' time, there will be a big problem for the food industry. That would be my suggestion.
Okay. Malayadri sir, what's your take on that?
Taking all measures, there is no problem with regard to hotel industry or hospitality. Taking all measures, definitely it will flourish. It's not at all a problem.
So, but they are already closed now in most of the part of India, particularly in Maharashtra and Mumbai. Hotels have been closed for almost 3 weeks.
Yeah, it is all the norms of the government. Definitely, it is whenever the norms are imposed, definitely it is supposed to be closed. But the word is dangerous. But meticulous care should be taken so that we can flourish.
Okay. Thank you. Acha. Now coming to the major and significant announcement made by the government. That is, from 1st May 2021, all those who are above 18 will also be given inoculation, vaccination.
Yes.
Now, with that, how much improvement in the scenario can we expect? Because this also includes major portion of the college going students, particularly in higher education institutions. So can we hope for the better academic year 21-22? Specific question is, with the inoculation being given to 18 plus also, can we hope for better academic year 21-22? Is specific question.
Sir, I think if I answer that quickly, that answer would be no. You see, vaccinations are only temporary, and the vaccination that we produced probably, for the past few months, though we try to help more than 92 countries in the world, giving them donations, and by ignoring our own people. But when it comes to the specific question, whether the children of 18 years and above, if they get vaccinated, can we bring our education system back to the normal? It would be no, because of the fact that every citizen, first of all, they should take care of the, those whatever the precautions that
standard operations. Standard operations.
Absolutely. So it is just like, washing hands and using sanitizers. How many of our people are using that? Particularly the youth, they don't care unless until it happened to them, or even if it happened to their own family member, they're not bothering themselves. So that is a sad part of it, because the population magnitude is so high in our country, and the student population at the higher education level, we got more than 220 million people. And it is next to impossible for us to regulate the movement and impose the disciplinary actions. That is what probably the answer would be no for us.
So vaccination alone cannot help. SOPs will
No,
continue.
it doesn't help it.
Malyadri sir, you agree with him?
No,
No, you don't
in
agree.
my
Okay.
opinion,
Yeah.
if it is vaccinated for above 18 years, definitely the pandemic issue will be little bit reduced. Little bit reduced. People may coming forward to take medical care. And if at all, if anybody got virus, it may be very less. So therefore, they can do their work without any problem. They need not be hospitalized, but there is a problem. The production levels of vaccination, question mark.
Okay.
Whether the governments are able to provide or supply the vaccines within the stipulated time, it is a question mark.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Now, last but one question. It is observed that the countries like Israel, Maldives, and some other countries are not much affected. In fact, they are not affected at all as compared to other countries of the world. What could be the reason? What could be the secret of the success of these countries for not being affected by COVID-19?
Sir, one thing is that discipline. Discipline plays a vital role. Even Fiji is also least affected. Probably the number of cases in Fiji is less than 2,000. So Maldives is one of the tourist destinations. They're depending upon the tourists, but still the imposition of the rules and regulations, if everybody, including the tourists, they strictly follow, then they can able to mitigate this. And the same thing goes with Israel, and same thing goes to many other countries, even Vietnam. Vietnam is also probably one of the largely populated countries with more than 80 million people. They could able to still control the virus. So only challenge here is that everybody should take part and take precautions. Even Tirupati Balaji cannot save, or probably Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba cannot save the people. It is the people themselves that can save themselves. So I think that is my suggestion. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I support the statement of Professor.
Okay, great. Now, one last question. What will be the fate of these college-going children? They have not seen the college campus for the past 1 year, and they have not seen their teacher's face. There is no interactive teaching, learning, and evaluation. So, if this situation continues, if even in the next academic year we continue like this only, what will be the overall personality development aspect of these college students?
Sir, that is an important question. In fact, see, the challenge is that we believe in Indian education philosophy that Guru Shishya Sambandh, the relationship that is between the Guru and the disciple, is very strong. Historically, even if we talk about, but that has been diluted, particularly in the event of this pandemic, with the online education. The relationship between the teacher and the Guru has been diluted very much. There's no relationship actually. When I teach my students eye-to-eye with an eye-to-eye contact, then I can transfer the knowledge, I can disseminate the knowledge. If I teach only the online, there is not going to reach them and effectively or efficiently. So it is going to have a tough challenge, and we need to bring whatever the number of universities that we started with the digital and online mode, that is not going to be efficient. It will be temporary. It can do something, but not as efficient as face-to-face or offline teaching. So there is nothing can replace the face-to-face, and the relationship between disciple and the guru must be re-established with the offline teaching. Otherwise, we cannot run like this. Thank you.
Malyadri sir?
So during the situation, there is no other go without online education. But during online classes, the problem, as the acute problem, as Professor Ravindra said, who is listening the class? We don't know. He just attends He provide attendance. He may not listen. We don't know. That is a big task. Anyway, if all the students are responsible, now we have to educate the students about the responsibility. We have to educate the children about the responsibility. See, the small kids, while we are using the mask, they think that this nose cannot be, this should be hide like dryer. The children may think like that. Oh, it is a secret part. Nose is a secret part. That's why.
Like it.
Yeah, it should be used always. So therefore, here we have to imbibe the responsibilities of the students first. So if at all the students feels the responsibility, definitely even online education will also flourish for some time only. Not it is not a permanent measure. It is temporary. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you both of you for your valuable inputs. And now, as the moderator, I conclude this plenary session by saying that both the speakers have been wonderful. They have put forth their thoughts, particularly the thought of Ravindra sir, clean and green country. That is the only solution for fighting with this COVID-19. And also Malyadri sir said CSR has to come forward and use entire fund for the improvement of the system. And now all of us should accept this new normal. SMS. SMS, sanitization. M, mask. And S, social distance. This is going to be the new normal, right from small child to the septuagenarian. All of us will have to live with this. And on that note, I thank you for being a good speakers for a good plenary session. And I also thank the organizers of Clara College for organizing this wonderful conference on the contemporary topic and giving me an opportunity to interact with these two wonderful people around. On that note, I take you all back to Shweta Shirode madam to conclude this session as oh. Thank you all.
Very nice of moderating. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
Thanks
Professor
to all the
Gopalji.
prominent speakers for such valuable information. With this, we have completed with the plenary session. I, Professor Shweta Shirode, on behalf of Clara's College of Commerce and the entire fraternity of the college, extend my most sincere thanks to all the prominent speakers who spared time from their busy schedule for gracing this conference with their crucial opinion and finding in this present pandemic time. Further, a very big thank you to the organizing committee for their efforts. I mention my deepest sense of appreciation and would place on record my hearty thanks to all the members who are directly and indirectly responsible for the grand success of this conference. I also extend thanks to all the teachers and participants. My hearty thanks to our principal, Dr. Madhukar Geete sir, management, Mr. Prashant Kashid sir, and Mr. Ajay Kaul sir for their constant support and motivation. A gentle request to everyone, kindly connect with the technical session exactly at 1:50 with the provided link. Thank you, everyone.
Shweta madam, thank you also for wonderful anchoring of this session. Somebody should thank you, no? So we'll thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Shall we leave, Shweta madam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can
Thank
connect
you,
again
sir.
by 1:50 with the technical session.
Sir. Nice having you around.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. See you. Good day.
Good day to you.